Hi, welcome back to our podcast, Books Don't Review Themselves. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Kim.
And today we are doing another weekly roundup where we talk about books, Netflix, movies, TV, all things that we have kind of consumed this week. So I will let you start.
All right. Well, I am going to start with Strange Girls. It's a woman in horror anthology by Azora Knox is the one who edited it. It comes out on February 18th. The reason why I decided to read this one, I had a couple of reading goals for this year. And one was to read more horror, and another one was to read more short stories and anthologies. So Strange Girls fit both of those perfectly. The other thing that ties in nicely is February is Women in Horror Month. So perfect. It was a bunch of short stories. I'd say maybe 15, 20 of them. It was enjoyable because I need to read more short stories because, you can read 3 before bed and that's good. And when I'm reading a full book, I'm like, I need to get to 50% or I need to get to 75%. Whereas this one, I can just read the 3 stories and be done. There's some that were really, really, really good. There's everything. There's vampires and there's selkies and there's mermaids and there's killer dolls and everything. I was a little concerned at first because the very first story, it was fine, but it also felt like it's a trope that's been done numerous times. And I don't feel like anything was really given more to it at all. But then the stories continued to get better. There were a few other clunkers for me. And once again, it wasn't that the story wasn't good or that it wasn't well written. But it feels like it's been done so many times. And one of them was about a killer clown, or not a killer clown, although that's been done a lot. It was a killer doll. And this one, at first, I'm like I said, it was fine. And I'm at the same time, But the author wrote something that kind of was making fun of it in her writing. Exactly. So that endeared me more to it, which was really good. The other thing that I really liked about the book is at the end of each story, they give tons of author information and other books that they've written. So if you do enjoy this author, you can just go find more of their books. So I need to go back on my Kindle and look some of these authors up and then go find more books and just, add more to my to-be-read pile, which is crazy, but whatever. So if you enjoy horror, if you enjoy women in horror, if you like anthologies or short stories, I would definitely give Strange Girls, edited by Azora Knox, a read.
My book that I listened to, and I'm probably 75-80% done with it, is Hidden Bodies by Carolyn Kepnes. It's the sequel to You, which is a Netflix series. I don't know if... I would imagine that Hidden Bodies is somehow incorporated into the series, but I don't know because I have not watched it yet.
There's a You season 2 that's out now, so maybe that could be
and
season 2?
I kind of wonder how they're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I have not finished Hidden Bodies yet, but I've listened to enough of it that I feel like I have a pretty good perspective of it. So You took place in New York, Hidden Bodies took place in LA, and this book is so LA.
Oh, yeah.
The author did such an excellent job. And, I can't sit there and be like, oh, this is totally what LA is like, because I've never been.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But what I feel like LA is like, she nailed to a T. And listening to it is even better. To the money and to the Malibu and to the drugs, and everyone is right. Everyone's a writer. Everyone's an inspiring actor and this and that. And it's it's cringy almost. Yeah. I like it because I liked You and I like this, but I feel like I enjoyed You a little bit better because of where it was. It wasn't as annoying to me.
They're more down to earth people.
Yes. Seeing that difference portrayed in a book was just kind of comical because in my eyes I'm like, how does that play such a big role? Mm-hmm. But it really
Location does.
It books. Really, really does. Mm-hmm. And it's super noticeable in Hidden Bodies to the point that I was like, oh my God, please go back to New York. But it is good. I will let you guys know once I finish it, what I think of the ending. And I guess at this point, I don't know if there's going to be a third or if this is where it ends. So
my other book that I read that I want to talk about is The Last Confessions of Autumn Casterly by Meredith Tate. This is a YA book. Another reading goal that I had was to read some more YA this year. I really enjoyed this one. It's 2 sisters, and of course I can't think of the other sister's name. One is Autumn. The other sister, I don't know. Whatever. So we have Autumn and Other Sister. So Other Sister, I felt a kinship to both of these sisters, and they are like complete opposites. The Other Sister is a total nerd and a total geek, and she, like, there's pulp culture references throughout the book that, even though I'm a 43-year-old woman, I still enjoyed them and, still giggled at some of them. And then you have Autumn, who is like a drug dealer, and she's a total bitch. She hates everyone, and I totally feel her. Except for the drug dealer part. But I feel that way some days. So I loved both of the sisters. There's a supernatural aspect to this as well. Let me back up a tiny bit. So basically, Autumn is selling drugs at this weird place, and she ends up getting kidnapped. And she is in this dark place, and she gets beat up before they throw her in there. And she hasn't really been nice to her sister for years, but the other sister, like, where's Autumn? She, even if she doesn't come home at night, she still comes home eventually, and she wasn't coming home. Right? The other sister kept kind of feeling like someone was with her, and Autumn was trying to give her clues and directions and stuff. The only way that I can kind of say that the supernatural, maybe the author meant for it to be, is Autumn was so close to death that she was kind of like in another plane, so she was able to get to her sister. Mm-hmm. So this is a mystery, what happened to Autumn. It's also a mystery as to why Autumn was a normal teenager, and then all of a sudden she started hating everyone and turned into a bitch. That mystery, it's kind of easy to figure out. I enjoyed this one. I think this is also a debut book by Meredith Tate, so I would read more by her. If you enjoy YA mysteries, suspense, you'll probably enjoy this one. If you really enjoy pulp culture, you'll probably get a kick out of this too. So another one that I really enjoyed.
I'm going to switch gears over to Netflix. So I watched Paper Tiger, which is Bill Burr's comedy special. And I also watched Strange Times by Joe Rogan, which is also his comedy special. Both really emphasize like the PC culture and LA, but did it in a comical way. And so I really like both of them. I don't necessarily agree with everything they say, but I really did enjoy those comedy specials, so I would highly recommend it.
Do they lean more like Democrat, Republican?
So I had watched a podcast with Joe Rogan where he had Bernie Sanders on it, and he really liked Bernie Sanders when he met him. Okay. But I think he leans more, he doesn't necessarily love Trump, and this is me just speculating off of what I've watched, but I think he agrees with some of the things that Trump has in place, or that some of what Trump's ideas are, but I'm not, 100% sure on that. Bill Burr, like, if you're a super feminist, I probably wouldn't watch this, because the thing is like, some of the stuff he says is not PC at all, but it does kind of make sense in a way, because like one of the things he had said was how, like, with the Me Too movement, the thing that he said is that people always say no means no, but he's like, he gave an example of when, like, if someone's like, I want to have sex, and you're like, no. Like, that's flat out no. But then he's like, when you're with your girlfriend and she's like, no, stop it, and like peeking around the corner, he's like, that's not necessarily a no. And then he talks about, then he does like this bit where it translates into like a court proceeding where it's like, no, stop it, you're being so bad. But he's like, that's not how she fucking said it, and you can't get that in a court recording. But just the way he did it, I thought was kind of funny. So I really liked both their specials. And then the other thing that I watched, which is totally on the opposite spectrum, is The Game Changers, and that's a documentary. It was done by, and I can't think of his name, I believe he was an MMA fighter, that basically he got injured and started doing a bunch of research on like diet and training and whatnot, and he started leaning towards a plant-based diet, and he spent hours upon hours doing research, and it started talking about other athletes who follow plant-based diets, from people in the NFL to runners to cyclists, and showing like the health benefits of it and the science behind it. And I really enjoy watching documentaries that are like all kinds of different ones, whether it's talking about like plant-based or whether it's talking about meat only or, you know, whatever. I enjoy watching that and learning and seeing what someone has to say. So I thought it was a really good documentary. And actually, Joe Rogan is a very big MMA person. So he actually had the guy that was part of a producer on this, because Arnold Schwarzenegger was actually in this too, because he's plant-based now. And so he had the MMA fighter that kind of started this whole thing on his podcast with someone else that I can't remember the doctor's name, who kind of disagrees with this concept. It wasn't always tactful, their conversation, but he really did try to mediate it so that it was like, okay, like, yeah, that's a good point.
Sense.
That's a good point. So what are your thoughts on this? So I thought that was even really good to watch after the fact, because, you know, some of the things obviously in a documentary can be maybe inflated or maybe just not portrayed in the right way.
Or they just give you that information and you don't see the other side
right.
of it.
So like there was something that really was heated in Joe Rogan's podcast with the two, and it was some sort of comparison of, I can't remember if it was like meat or what it was, the comparison of that to like cigarettes.
Oh.
And the doctor was like, how can you compare, you know, this to this? Like, you know, and so that's just kind of one of those things where it shows that maybe that's not the best way to portray something, because maybe it's not 100% accurate. Nonetheless, I thought it was a really, really good documentary, and I know a lot of people kind of watched it when it came out.
And the thing is, the people who totally believe this will believe it, and no matter what you say, will not change their mind.
Right.
And then you have other people who totally disbelieve it, no matter what you say, won't change their mind. And then those people who are in the middle, who actually are open to knowledge, that's always a good thing.
Right.
The other one I'm going to talk about is, I was going to talk about one thing, but I'm going to talk about a different one because I feel like it goes a little bit better with the other two books I talked about. And that is 911 Lone Star. It just started up after Christmas break. I watched 911.
That's the one with Rob Lowe, right?
Yeah, the Lone Star one is. As much as I talk about not enjoying people and as much horror and so on and so forth that I watch, I cry at things. And 911, I swear to God, I cry every single episode. Even talking about it, I'm tearing up because I'm just thinking of past episodes and I'm like, oh my God. So, like, as soon as I sit down to watch the original 911, before I sit down, I grab the Kleenex box because I know I'm going to be tearing up. So I'm like, do I want to try 911 Lone Star? I'm like, yes, I do. So like you said, Rob Lowe is in it. It's good. It takes place in Texas, and it's similar to 911. I just enjoy the stories. And every time I watch them, I always think of your husband, because these are things that he would have to deal with. Maybe not people. Even possibly, there's last episode, someone was stuck in a grain silo or a corn silo, and they were slowly getting crushed to death. So I was going to say maybe Josh would never deal with that, but we do live in Wisconsin, so maybe one day he would.
Yeah, and I know Josh has told me that, like, his first call when he was a brand spanking new baby paramedic was a mill explosion.
Oh, that's huge.
So it's like picking up, you know, body parts and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Good times. So if you liked 911, there's a really, really, really good chance that you'll like 911 Lone Star. And
what makes it Lone Star? Is it just the fact that it's based in
in Texas?
Texas, okay.
Yeah, it's like, you know, all the other like CSI, CSI Miami, and so on and so forth. So it'll be interesting to see if they do other, you know, places. If they do 911 Florida. Oh, dear God.
911 Miami.
I will still be watching that, because that one I might not cry at all the time. I might actually laugh at that with some of the Florida man things that happen down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on Hulu. I don't know the actual channel, ABC, CBS, whatever, but I just watch it on Hulu, and I enjoy that one as well.
Well, I think that's all we have for our weekly wrap-up. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That will notify you whenever we have a new episode. If there's anything that you have read, watched, listened to, whatever that we have, let us know what you think. Otherwise, we're always open to suggestions. I guess we'll see you next week.